Bonjour tout le monde and welcome to Musings of Fox. For this week's video I am bringing you a beauty battle between two similar products. This is the Storm sponge from Juno. It is black, it has a little flat edge and then like another kind of weird edge. And the classic Real Techniques sponge. This one here being in a beautiful like petal pink with like very micro glitter things. I was a sucker for it. I couldn't help it. I do. My favorite color is orange, but I have a extreme soft spot for like soft, dusky pinks. So this one had to come. Actually, this is a really good representation of like two sides of me: the dark, spooky sponge over here, and the Glinda is a Good Witch sponge. So today I'm going to do a little beauty battle between these sponges. I'm going to divide my face in half, and one sponge will do one half of my face, the other will do the other half, and then I will take you in very closely so people can get a better idea of what foundation looks like on skin. I think when we're all under these beauty lights and you guys are further away, everything kind of seems to always come out fine. Last week's video where I did my makeup as I did in high school, I had a lot of people going like, I thought your foundation like looked fine. And I'm gonna say that that's because of the like distance you guys had from it, because up close it was just sitting in my pores and it was so gross. So I'm gonna take you guys in very closely so you can see what you would see if this was your face. I have already primed my face with my combination of Milk's Hydro Grip and the False Solly Skin Tune Blur. So I'm going to go wet this Real Techniques sponge and we will get working on the right side of my face. So I have wet the Real Techniques sponge. It is huge now. Oh my gosh. It feels like it really kind of exploded on me. And it's kind of gotten a little bit darker, but it's still beautiful. It really goes with today's eyeshadow look. Alright guys, there are no tricks here. I am using my daily foundation, which is the Urban Decay Stay Naked foundation. For those curious, my shade is 40YW. I hope this fits me. I feel like I've gotten a little bit paler by being in the office or at home all the time. And then we have a nice freshly wetted Real Techniques sponge. It's nice and gigantic and really soft, and you can still see the sparkles. Can you guys see the sparkle? Are they coming through on camera? I don't think they're coming through on camera, but they're really pretty. Alrighty, the one thing that I think a lot of people do that to me is like a makeup sponge boo-boo is they put the makeup right on the sponge. I always go onto the back of my hand or some kind of something. That way the sponge isn't immediately soaking up the product, and that way I can kind of control the opacity I get. I've not used a Real Techniques sponge in a very long time, so I feel like this is more for like the places where you're trying to really get in. So I'm gonna use like the big boofy side for just the big planes of my face. So I have it going like this, and we're just gonna bounce. It feels really nice. I feel like it's laying it down fair. My mirror is like 8 miles from me, so hold on. It's gonna be hard to remember to only do one side of my face. Oh, this is doing really well. It's actually really... I don't feel like I have any sponge imprints. It's giving the good medium coverage, because the Stay Naked foundation is not a full coverage, which is why it's my daily foundation. I'm not trying to hide all the freckles, but we're trying to hide all the red. Like the beauty blender, you feel like you're kind of punching your face. I don't feel like I can like really punch myself with this. More like a pillow fight. I'm going to show you my bare face in the foundation. Today I adopted the style of taking my eyeshadow down into my under eye area so that I do not have to try and fight the darkness of my insomnia. This is already a really skin-like foundation, and I feel like the sponge is doing a really good job of making sure it doesn't kind of highlight my like baby hairs on my face or my peach fuzz. And it's keeping it really skin-like and just kind of blended for me. I don't feel like I'm having to work too hard with it. Oftentimes when I use this foundation with a beauty blender, I feel like I desperately need a like setting spray to help blend it together, because it can go a little patchy and I don't feel like I'm having any of the struggles with this sponge. I'm gonna do a little bit of concealer while we're on this side. Taking the Urban Decay Stay Naked concealer in 41 CP on my red spots. And a little bit around my nose eventually. So I'm going to use the flat side. and kind of dig in to the weird spots. So that is the right side of my face done with the Real Techniques sponge. I think the Juno sponge is going to have to work really hard to be as good as this one was. I'm really impressed and surprised at how great the sponge has laid down this foundation. So I'm just going to go wet the Juno sponge and I'll be right back. Alrighty, we are back with the now super gigantic Juno Storm sponge. I did also purchase their classic one, which is this like weird kind of velvety texture. I'm gonna be honest, I hate the texture of this. This feels awful. Maybe if it was wet it would feel better, but this feels really stiff and it reminds me of like vintage hangers, like velvet hangers, and that's going to be another video for another day. I'm not prepared for that. But the Storm sponge is extremely soft. It feels like the Real Techniques sponge. It feels like a beauty blender. I thought it was more just to compare two similar types of material than to compare just vastly different sponges. It is so soft. It is the softest sponge I've ever felt when wet. It is softer than the Real Techniques and a beauty blender. It is delicious. Like, it feels creamy. I don't think a texture of a solid object is supposed to be creamy, but it feels so creamy and nice, and I'm really excited to smush this on my face. Again, using the big boofy side. Okay, this one is definitely, I feel, maybe it feels like it's putting down a little lighter. I feel like I was getting a little more opacity with the Real Techniques sponge. And this one is giving me, feels a little bit more like sponge painting as a kid. So I'm not sure. While this sponge feels amazing, I don't know that I'm necessarily loving the texture of the makeup just yet. It is very squishy and like very malleable. It feels like molding clay. It feels like memory foam. I feel like this is made out of memory foam. It's just like squishing with my fingers. I also feel like it might be holding more water in it. I feel like it's the most like wet feeling sponge on my face, and I feel like that's giving me a thinner layout of the product. Yeah, it just feels like I'm not getting, I'm not gonna like mush this on. I feel like it's a little, yeah, I feel like it's removing everything. Like it just feels like it's wiping foundation away rather than putting it down. You will never get a cake face with this sponge when wet. That is certain. Oh, I'm so disappointed. I really thought you were gonna be just it, sponge. Let's put on concealer anyway, using the flat side. Actually, both kind of tips are flatted, but yeah, I feel like I'm just wiping everything I'm doing off. I feel like I've never used a sponge before and I don't know what I'm doing. Wow. Okay. I mean, yeah. I feel like crazy. I just feel totally discombobulated. Oh, okay. Now I regret putting the sponge on my favorite side of my face. Just look at all that pink that is just coming through still. I'm going to bring it closer and show you what I see. This is the side where we had the Real Techniques sponge. I just think this side has that perfect medium coverage. There are some glitter spots and I can't tell if that's from the sponge or from my makeup. So, not sure if this glitter is like transferable. But I think this just looks really good. It's the way I like my foundation to be. I want the coverage there, and so if you're someone who wears makeup, you know I'm wearing foundation, but to possibly a regular non-makeup user, you wouldn't necessarily know. You can't necessarily clock it and go, hey, that's some full coverage you got there. It's kind of like, oh, her skin tone is so even. And so that's how I really like my foundation to be. Over the forehead, which is like one of my driest spots, and usually my dead giveaway for whether or not my foundation is well blended. And I think it looks pretty good. There's this dry patch I have here that just always hates everything, but with a bit of setting spray it usually calms down and isn't really that visible. And then let's look at this side. Yeah. Can we just like get the cheeks close together and just see how different they are? I feel like my perma face blush is well tempered down. It looks like a natural blush. It helps me guide where I do put my blush when I apply blush. And this side looks like, I don't know. It's not great. There's just all of this still visible. My face feels like this side feels really soft, and this side feels like I can feel the stickiness of my primers that didn't get covered with foundation. So all of this pinkness is coming through. Let's be hyper specific. Yeah, it just doesn't, it feels like I put on a, not even a tinted moisturizer, because I've had tinted moisturizers that actually feel pretty full coverage. It just feels like I put on the most watered down foundation. I don't know what happened. This is the wettest sponge I have ever felt. And so I'm wondering if it like soaks up too much water. And then it is literally watering down my foundation. But it's just pulling off. I don't know, it's just not, it's not doing it. It's so soft though. Like it feels like the best sponge I've ever felt, but it's doing the worst job I've ever seen. Like my forehead looks okay. Like I think that came out a little bit better, but I never put a lot of foundation on my forehead because you really shouldn't. Like you should concentrate in like problem coloration areas and get thinner as you get higher up on your face. But this is just not it. I'm so disappointed. I really thought this was going to be like, these are amazing sponges, buy whichever one you like. And which is totally true. I do say buy whichever one you like, but it's like, I'm so disappointed. It's like I wanted a great black sponge, and I have a black sponge from I do have a black sponge from Beauty Blender, but this sponge is like a completely different texture than the usual one. It is very hard and not soft, and I feel like I get an exfoliation when I use it, so I mostly use it dry for powders. I thought I was gonna do like some photo and be like, which side is which? You can't tell because it's so flawless, and it's just like, nope. Nope. So I'm gonna have to say the winner of this battle for me, for the way I prefer my makeup to be, for the kind of payoff I want between product and sponge, I'm gonna go with the Real Techniques sponge. I think a lot of people have always loved this sponge. I know that many people said this is like the Beauty Blender killer when it came out, and I didn't realize you had to use them wet. I think I had my first one in like 2013, something like that, and I didn't really understand. So I was never good at makeup sponges until I got a Beauty Blender, and then I was like, oh my god, Beauty Blender just fixed all my problems, when really it was about me learning skills. But I still feel like this one actually has something special about it. There's something going about this. Both became gigantic, but this one is a little bit like rounder in the center. This one's a little more slender. But yeah, it's just, if you ask me which one I wanted to squeeze on all day, it would definitely be this one. It just feels like memory foam. It's fun and grippy and then pops back into shape. But like this one feels getting like towards dry, and this one is still like, I feel like I could still squeeze out something. Yep. Ew, it's foundation colored. Alrighty folks, thank you for joining me for this quick little beauty battle. I hope you found it intriguing, interesting. Let me know what your favorite makeup sponge down below is. Is it the Beauty Blender? Is it the Real Techniques sponge? Do you have a love for this Juno sponge that I do not understand for my own skin? Whatever it is, let me know down below. I'm always on the hunt for a good deal when it comes to makeup tools, and let me know what kind of beauty battle you guys want to see next. Alright guys, I will see you next time. Bye!